Welcome to episode 3 of Capital City Sports. I'm your host, Kendall Smith. It's been a hot week here in Columbia, South Carolina, and the action was also heating up for Gamecock Athletics. Let's get started with this week's episode. On Saturday, the Gamecocks were looking for their first win of the season in the SEC, and our very own Forrest Tucker was at Williams-Brice Stadium. He has all of the updates for you now.
After a devastating loss to Mizzou and Como last week, the Gamecocks bounced back tonight. With a healthy Ryan Helinski and an established run game, USC got their first SEC win. Family weekend in Columbia brought the crowds to Williams-Brice for the first night game of this season. Fans were hoping some black magic would break USC's 5-game losing streak versus Kentucky. In the first quarter, Tavian Feaster gave the Gamecocks a 7-0 lead after a 2-yard touchdown run. The USC defense came to play as well, as Ernest Jones gets the best of Sawyer Smith here with an interception. DJ Wanham had a huge night with 3 sacks. Here he gets to Sawyer Smith, and Aaron Sterling recovers the football for the Gamecocks. Parker White also made a field goal in the first half. Ryan Helinski improved this week with 140 passing yards, while Rico Dowdle and Tavian Feaster both passed the century mark on the ground. However, Helinski was under pressure throughout the game as he was sacked 3 times, but the Gamecock offense continued to flourish with their running backs. In the third quarter, Rico Dowdle scampers away from Kentucky defenders for a 30-yard touchdown run to put USC up 17-0. To cap off the ground assault for the Gamecocks, Feaster got his second touchdown of the day with a 19-yard run. In the dying moments, Chris Rodriguez scored UK's only points with a touchdown run. The final tally under the lights, 24-7 USC. The bye week is next for Carolina, and their next test is away to UGA on October 12th. For Capital City Sports, I'm Forrest Tucker. Kendall, back to you.
Thank you, Forrest. I'm sure the bye week this coming weekend for the Gamecocks will be very beneficial before they head down to Athens, Georgia to take on the Bulldogs. Next up here on Capital City Sports, we have Alexa Daly, who was at the Carolina Volleyball Center yesterday. She covered the Gamecocks taking on the Auburn Tigers.
Thanks, Kendall. Today was a thriller in the Carolina Volleyball Center as the Gamecocks took on the Auburn Tigers in today's SEC matchup. A great match was had by both teams, but in the end, Carolina dominated, earning a 3-0 win over the Tigers. The first set consisted of a tight battle between the Gamecocks and the Tigers, who kept a close score for the majority of the set. With key plays from Claire Edwards, who led the Gamecocks in points for the day, and a set winner from Michaela Robinson, South Carolina took the set 25-19. The second set proved to be an easy ride for the Gamecocks, who found an early 10-point lead. The Tigers trailed by 10 for the majority of the match as the Gamecocks coasted to a 25-13 win in an all-around team effort led by Michaela Robinson, who led the set in kills. The final match consisted of a tight back-and-forth battle between the Gamecocks and the Tigers. Michaela Robinson and Claire Edwards again proved to be standout players in the final set, leading South Carolina to their third set win over Auburn, 25-14. After falling to Georgia last week, this win should motivate the Gamecocks as they prepare to take on Kentucky this Friday. For Capital City Sports, I'm Alexa Daly. Back to you, Kendall.
Thank you so much, Alexa. What an exciting win for the Gamecocks. They're hoping to carry forward that momentum to Lexington, Kentucky, as they will take on the University of Kentucky Wildcats during their next match. Now, we weren't able to cover everything this week on Capital City Sports, but no worries. Our very own Justin Walsh is here to give you all of the updates on events we were unable to cover this week.
Thanks, Kendall. Now let's start off with men's golf. Recently, the team participated in the Graham McDowell Invitational. Although North Florida took the win, South Carolina placed 4th overall as a team. Now on to women's soccer. The Gamecocks recently faced off against Alabama and took the win 5-2. This marked the most goals scored for South Carolina against an SEC matchup since 2010. Now on to volleyball. Recently, USC took on Georgia for the first SEC matchup of the season. Each team won 2 of the first 4 sets, but sadly the Gamecocks fell to the Bulldogs as the Bulldogs won the final set 15-13. Now for men's soccer, this past Friday the team took on the number 11 team in the country, being Charlotte, but sadly fell short 4-0, which brings their record for the overall season 4-4. Now finishing things off with women's soccer. In this top 15 matchup, USC took on Arkansas and took the match 1-0, bringing their record overall to 9-1. That's all we got over here. Back to you, Kendall.
Thank you so much, Justin. That'll do it for us here on this week's episode of Capital City Sports. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CCS on SGTV and tune in to our episode next Monday. For Capital City Sports, I'm Kendall Smith.